Hi everybody, I'm Pep Bryan, and today I'm going to be discussing how to optimize your recovery for cycling training. So you probably already know that all of your training, everything that you eat, your mindset, everything, it means nothing if you don't allow enough recovery. Where all of your gains, everything that you do, you don't get stronger, faster, or more powerful on the bike. You get it when you recover. So I'm going to link in the description, or if you're reading this on my website in the blog, some great content around the fundamentals of the basics of cycling training. If you're not sure about any of this, have a little look at that. But we're really going to focus on just that recovery mindset, how to optimize it, because it's so crucial for cyclists of any ability. So for me, like the first opportunity you have to aid your recovery is the moment you finish your main set, the main set of your training. We talk about you break your training down into three main parts: your warm up, your main set, which might be intervals or a steady ride or whatever it is, and your cool down. As soon as you start cooling down, this is your absolute best and most important opportunity to give your body a little boost. Cool down doesn't have to be anything fancy at all. It can be 5-10 minutes of just super gentle pedaling. You want a slightly higher cadence than normal, but a really low power. Like, you really need to be taking it easy just to kind of give your body a good kick to go. What you do, the length of it, is going to come down to probably what the session was. Do you really need to cool down if you've been doing a recovery ride? Absolutely not. Even like base zone 1 or zone 2, you probably don't need much more than 5 minutes to kickstart that. But a high intensity set of intervals or a race, 10-20 minutes of just easy pedaling is the way to go. And you might but not always, you might want to just check your input, which is your heart rate, what that was in beats per minute at the start of your warm-up, and try and get your heart rate to be there as low as possible. You want to see a considerable drop anyway. Might not get back to baseline depending on how hard you went, but we want to see that trend. So once you've finished your cool down, you have a golden window, that's what we like to call, and it's like 30 to 45 minutes depending on who you listen to, in order to do a few factors that will really help kick your your recovery into gear. Sports manufacturers will tell you till their mouths are sore from shouting about it. Protein is the number one thing to input. It's not at all. As long as you eat enough protein throughout your day, your body knows exactly what to do with it. So a protein shake isn't necessarily what you need. Now, I love having a protein shake every now and again. If I'm out and I know I can't get a good meal, heck yes, I'm going to have a protein shake. And I love to add it in sometimes. It's got some cool flavors. It's a good little treat sometimes, right? But ultimately, what your body needs is to start replenishing fluids, electrolytes, and carbohydrates. So, in your cool down, you should hopefully, if you don't have some fluids left, go quickly back to the, car if you're outside racing, or, if you're indoors, jump off and grab some water with some, electrolyte tablet in it, or some salt, or whatever it is you've got with your hydration strategy, and start to deal with that. And that's going to sort out, your electrolytes and your fluids. And you just got to focus on your carbohydrates. As soon as you're off the bike is what I would do, eat something. So hopefully you've already got something prepared or something easy. If not, then I do actually recommend making a smoothie. Now again, you don't need to put protein powder in this, but you might consider, having 5 portions of fruit and vegetables. If you don't believe me that you can get 5 portions of the fruit and vegetables into a shake, check out some of my other videos, because I can and I do prove that you can get a good 5 portions of fruit and vegetables in there. And check out as well my video on how plants can elevate your cycling training too, because that explains exactly why I say 5 per meal. Back on subject, Pav. So basically what we want is for you to get in carbohydrates. So you might add some, oats to that. You might have a shake and you might, make some porridge out of it, heat it up, whatever you want to do, especially on a cold day. If you're in the UK, not all of us are lucky enough to live in California. But, if you're in the UK or anywhere cold, you've just come back from a ride and you're miserable, a hot bowl of, porridge is going to be the perfect thing to warm you up and also give you a good boost of carbohydrates, which your body is going to really use for recovery. It's going to give you an absolute kick. So then you probably want to shower so we'll let you deal with that, but also I also think that there's a good benefit from stretching on foam rolling. Now there is like zero science that suggests that stretching is going to improve your cycling performance or any athletic performance as far as I'm aware, but ultimately I think that stretching is really good for our mind and general day-to-day life. It just adds a lot. And again, check out one of my blogs. I'll probably do a video on, it's jokingly, satirically called "Why You Should Get Bent," for the reasons why outside of a cycling performance aspect, why you should stretch. Foam rolling is really important for me. I think that is just going to be, really aiding your muscles to start flushing out all of the toxins and the waste that, gets built up from training, and helps like put fresh, clean blood through. And it's going to really help. You could start, if you've got some money, invest in something like a percussion recovery gun, or even air compression tights like leggings or whatever. They're really good as well. I really value them. But you're starting to talk about spending quite considerable money on those, whereas your foam roller is £5-10 dollars or whatever it is. It's an affordable piece of kit. Next for me, and this is probably aimed at more of those who might have kids, or if you're racing, I always used to tell my young athletes who are racing, right, as soon as they finish the race, just avoid other people. If COVID has taught us one thing, is that we need to maybe be a bit more mindful around not who we hang around with, but the proximity. Do we shake hands with people, and if people are coughing, do we want to be like within that their personal space? At the point at which you finish a race or a high intensity set of intervals or a long ride, anything that stressed your body enough, is the point at which your immune system's really compromised. So the last thing you want to do is be around sick people. So I give you permission right now to tell your kids to bugger off for a bit, wherever possible, and take some space until you start to feel a lot more recovered and your immune system's got that back up. And that's where the fruit and vegetables, eating that and having that good kick of carbohydrates, what's going to really help that return to that baseline. Okay, so that's kind of like your your immediate post-training, post-ride recovery. Now, if you can do all of those things, they're going to give you a real good kick. But there's some day-to-day general tips that I'm going to give you that are really going to transform your recovery. For me, I think the biggest takeaway for me, and the one that I work with a lot of my clients, is sleep. Again, it's such a big topic that I've written a blog on that, and I'll do another video. So make sure you subscribe, and also it's such a big whole factor. So 7 to 8 hours is what I recommend, and it's not 7 to 8 hours of sleep, it's as quality as possible. Now you could track that using some fancy gadgets, your phone, or some of these wearables and stuff. I don't really know how accurate they all are. The ones that I've used have been pretty poo. So ultimately I would just look to start thinking about how you feel when you wake up in the morning. Do you feel really refreshed? Do you remember waking up multiple times during the night? How do you feel? And practicing some sleep hygiene might be the key to doing that, because if you can start getting 7 to 8 hours like every night, especially if you're somebody that only gets like 4 to 5 and it's really like fractured, and you're gonna not just feel better in general life, you're gonna perform better on the bike because you're gonna recover. Your recovery is gonna be turbocharged. So, I'm a really big fan of massage. I think that if you can develop a relationship with a regular masseur, physical therapist, physio, whatever you want to call them, I think that they're going to be really invaluable to you as you start to, chase your goals or whatever your dreams are. I understand that they're not always like affordable, and ultimately, if I was going to tell you in my unbiased opinion whether you should spend your money on massage or a coach, I want to tell you to spend your money on a coach, of course. But the benefits of you having regular massage are, they're going to help your body recover. Muscles, again, similar to, foam rolling, they're going to help your body and muscles, work out knots, they're going to flush out some of that waste product. And, they're going to be able to get to know your body. Yeah, and they're going to be able to give you maybe some exercises to do to, loosen up. They're going to be able to tell you, okay, you can repeatedly come in here and your left side is tighter than your right. And they're going to be able to give you some maybe stretches to be able to remedy that. So I think that they have to be mentioned in this, even if, you can't afford that right now. Again, I'm always banging on about mentality, right? Mentality comes into this all the time, and I can't stress highly enough, right, the recovery mindset. Again, this is something I've written a whole blog on, and I will also link in my video once I've done that. So make sure you do subscribe. Give me your data as well on the website if you're not on there. And we'll make sure we send you I'll send you a text or an email when the new blogs drop. But this is what I'm talking about. As we're younger, right, we're always told by parents, teachers, whoever it is, we should be doing more physical activity, right? You should take the stairs instead of taking the lift or the elevator, blah blah blah. When you're training and you're riding, even if it's 5 hours a week, most of us are doing maybe a little bit more than that. You don't need any more exercise, you're doing enough. What you need is more recovery. So I give you permission right now, if you're riding your bike and you're training, to not take the stairs. Don't worry about it. Be a bit more lazier, right? And there's certain situations where you can't get away with that, but ultimately when you start to ask yourself, the decision that you're about to make, is it going to aid or hinder your recovery? You're really going to transform your whole mindset around that, and you're just going to start making smart decisions. So definitely look to instill that, recovery mindset. Now, the last two things about this are two things that people just get wrong all the time. I see athletes always getting this wrong. Recovery rides is the number one thing. A recovery ride ultimately has to be, if you're doing it outside, has to be so slow that, your nan is coming past you on her shopping bike, right? Most people that go out and do a recovery ride are just going far too hard, and that's why I always recommend that in reality the recovery ride should be done inside. 90 minutes is the absolute max for recovery ride. You don't need any more than that, and in reality like an hour is probably pretty good anyway. And it should be super relaxed, so chill that you could, it's barely like you're doing anything. If it's not recovery, and it's actually just increasing the training load and stress on your body. And the final thing, is time off the bike. End of season breaks, everybody hates having time off the bike, and it's not something that, we ever really want to have to factor into our training. But ultimately, I always tell my athletes and, people who ask me this question, do you take an end of season break? Would you rather take an end of season break at like in October or November or sometime when you've got months to build back up? Not that you're going to lose a lot anyway, but you got months from those time of the year. Or would you rather take it a month before your event because you haven't been able to allow your body to recover in that grander scheme? Ultimately everybody's individual. You might get away with not having to have an end of season break if you're only doing 5 hours of training a week anyway, but if you've been training really long and hard for 9 or more months, I can't stress highly enough how important it is to take a little break just to give your mind and body a little bit of added recovery. You will thank me when you're not plateauing weeks or months before your main event. So that's it. That's all we're talking about today. So again, thank you for watching. It's always a pleasure. I'd love to hear from you all. So depending on whether you're watching this on my YouTube or on the website, please do leave me a comment on YouTube and subscribe, of course. Share it with your friends, and if you're on the blog, reach out, get in contact. Consultations for 15 minutes are always free. Love chatting to people about your training, and obviously, of course, if you're looking to work with a coach, let's discuss that. Hopefully, it'll be a great fit. And if not, I have loads of coaches who I've worked with over the years who I can recommend you to. So thank you. I'm Pat Bryan. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your day.